I think maybe the first question, and just for both of you, and so maybe you both can answer this, we had was just around that actual selling experience, because obviously ultimately these virtual tastings, we want to sell wine, right? Like that's the purpose at the end of the day. So how do you, and I know Eddie, you've touched on this a little bit, but then how do you transition where you're wanting to have a positive, entertaining experience to now you now want to have an actual sale, you want to communicate that without integrating that into an experience. So how do you do that? Jerry, why don't you kick us off first?
So I had some conversations with colleagues that were doing this as well, and they indicated that they found sort of the ask at the end to be very awkward, unlike in-person tastings where there was this expectation. And so we decided to not really do it. We do tell them that there'll be a follow-up email, and in that email we make an offer in terms of a discount. We do, again, sort of try to create an emotional connection to the wines. They do have the wines in front of them, but based on the previous feedback from some colleagues that indicated that it was awkward, I felt like I didn't want to end on an awkward to even sort of like feel it out. And these are wineries that are very good at selling direct. So that's sort of been our approach. Like create a positive, great experience. Try to develop a connection to the wine. Try to develop an interest in the other packs as well. And then we'll mention the wine club during it. So we'll lay everything out, and then we'll come back with an email thanking them for the time that has an offer in it.
Yeah, so I was kind of alluding to that earlier, right? So where you, in cases where you can't, obviously, if you can make the ask, absolutely do it. I don't want to misconstrue what I was saying. In fact, one of my friends, she wrote the book, Ask Outrageously. The premise is you don't ask, you don't get. So if you can ask for it. Don't be afraid to ask. However, in a lot of scenarios, people are not allowing us to do that, or as Sherry's point was, people may feel uncomfortable with that. So that's where the ideal of seeding comes in, right? So for me, in my leadership speeches, my primary business is coaching, right? I will tell a success story about a client who I coached. And the inference is this person had the success, you can have that success as well. It's not a made up story, it's a legitimate story. And in that story, I highlight the service, right? Um, in my intro today, for example, even, I said to you that I am the host of the Keep Leading podcast. Now, I did not show a slide of my podcast. I did not show you a slide of anything else that I do. But just in my introduction, it was a nice little seeding, not overt. It is who I am and what I do. And other people will ask me later on, hey, what's the link to your podcast? Or what did you say that was? Right. The other thing that you saw me do is in my slides. In my slides, my contact information is on the footer of every single slide. That's intentional. It's subtle, right? My website is eddieturnerllc.com. That's very hard to say. So I bought the URL, askeddieturner.com. Easy to say, easy to remember, right? It still takes you to eddieturnerllc.com. But when I found that every time I said LLC, was it L? Everybody got twisted around the LLC, right? Or they stopped just at my name. So I changed the URL that I give people simply for that reason. So subtly, just by putting it in the bottom third of my slides, dropping references occasionally, it's a subtle way of letting folks know that, hey, I have a service, and if you want it, great. If not, I'm not going to shove it on you.